Welcome to this time of being together. Welcome to this time of learning together. Let us enter into this time together. Please stand if you're able for the gathering. I apologize. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. You may be seated. Come, come, whoever you are. Do you hear that voice calling you, calling us, that voice which calls us together here today in this room, made holy by our presence and by the sacred breath we share in our singing, our speaking, and in silence. That voice which calls us to remember that we are not alone and that we are all inextricably linked to all other life, woven into a vast tapestry of existence of which we are a powerful, integral, and holy part. And just as we've been called together here today, we act as the voice, the heart, the hands, and another call. The call to walk with the wanderers, sing and dance with the worshipers, proclaim the memory of those who have taken their leave, wrap the despairing and the broken in the arms of love and community, and hold the hands of all of us who have broken our vows and call us back again and again to the covenant and work of justice, humility, and steadfast faithfulness. For this, we are here together today. So, my friends, come, yet again come, and let us worship together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
You can sit, Quaid. Good morning. Welcome to Hope. My name is James Donovan, and I have a few announcements for you. Some of you may remember last week, Ren was scheduled to preach, and she couldn't make it. And I really want to know want you who helped make the service go on. I want you to know how much we appreciate it. Elizabeth Obel and Julia Harris and Carol and those of you who participated last week. Now, the reason Ren is back, or here, this week, is that unfortunately, Justin McCreary, our minister, his father-in-law, Alicia's dad, died, I believe, yesterday, unfortunately. So, that's in Mississippi. He was in Mississippi. The bowling alley owner of Cleveland, Mississippi, Eddie Gong, died, unfortunately. And there are a couple of cards out here in the fellowship hall by where the cookies will be that you can sign for Alicia and Justin. If you want to know what's going on here at Hope, you need to sign up and receive our Focus and Highlights newsletters. And to do that, send an email message to hopeuu@hopeuu.org. And if you do receive Highlights and Focus, remember to open the email and read the newsletters. I know that approximately 40% of you do, but for the rest of you, please remember to open it and read it. We're going to start something new and different here at Hope during our adult forum starting next week. We're going to talk about banned and challenged books, and we're starting next week with The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, the Nobel Prize winner for literature. And I highly recommend this book. In October, we're going to talk about genderqueer, graphic memoir. And then in November, we'll talk about the classic Fahrenheit 451. And then we're going to talk about Project 1619 project, and then Mouse, which is about the Holocaust, which you may remember that it was challenged by a school district somewhere in Kentucky or Tennessee, and it sold more copies than it ever had. So, check out my T-shirt. This is a true statement. You want to sell more copies, get your book challenged. I'll let the younger, taller, more handsome James talk about the ice cream social in a minute. Feed the homeless once a month on the third Saturday of each month. People from Hope prepare food, deliver food, sometimes serve food at the Day Center for the Homeless downtown, and that's coming up on August 17th. And Anita Ward has put a sign-up sheet out there by the cookies if you want to sign up and help with that. This is my pet peeve that I like to talk about when I do announcements. If you are able to walk from that far parking lot, please park over there so that people who are unable to walk from there have a parking spot when they show up. I noticed a couple of our friends showed up, I think it was last week, and they had no place to park, and they really it is difficult for them to walk. So even if you show up at 8 o'clock and the entire parking lot is empty and you are able to walk that far, please park in the far parking lot. Gonna get an amen, Rebecca? I know that Bob over there, Bob, I don't want to reveal your age, but I know that you are, he's 90-something. He parks there and he walks because he knows he's able.
That's my workout for the day.
So now I want to turn this over for a moment to let James Hefner talk about the ice cream social.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hi.
Isn't it a nice, beautiful Sunday? Well, I just wanted to touch base with everyone, let them know that the ice cream social is still on for the 15th. We'd love to see as many faces as possible. We have this sign-up sheet. If you'd like to show up for a party, don't show up empty-handed. Bring a topping or some plastic spoons, something everyone can use. The plan is we're going to do it on August 15th. And we'll start at 6:30. If you want to help set up, you can be here at 6. We'll have ice cream social for about an hour to 30 minutes, and then we'll start game night. And if you haven't been to game night, since you're already here for ice cream, stay for the games. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me or Cal. We'll be happy to help. Thank you.
All right, now it is time for our story for all ages. This story is called The Pear Tree and the Seasons of Life. There was once a young man who had 4 sons. He wanted to teach each of them about the dangers of judging things too rapidly before seeing all aspects of the situation. So he decided to send each of them on a journey, one after the other, to view and observe a distant pear tree. Each son traveled in a different season. The first in winter, the second in spring, and the third in the summer. Finally, the fourth in the fall. At the end of the year, he brought all of his children together and asked them what they had seen and observed. The son who had traveled in the winter described a gnarled, twisted, and barren tree that stood stark and ugly against the land. The son who went in the spring disagreed completely. He commented that the tree seemed full of hope and promise, with many green buds along its branches. The third son, who traveled in the summer, described the pear tree he had seen as covered with beautiful blossoms that looked and smelled divine. Finally, the fourth and last son, who made the journey in the fall, was even more elated. He described a tree laden with sweet and delicious pears that tasted better than any he had ever eaten before. After each son had spoken, the father said they were actually all correct, because each had only seen but one season in the pear tree's life. He told his sons that it was foolish and impossible to make wise and fair judgments in this manner. He explained that the essence of something, whether it's a tree or a fellow human, can only be measured as a whole at the end of its year, having seen all its development and fullness. To make a negative judgment in winter is to miss the promise of spring, the beauty of summer, and the delicious fruit of fall. Moral of the story: refuse to judge yourself, life, or other people based upon a single mistake or challenging time. Refuse to let the pain of one season destroy the joy of what is to come in the future. Amen. All right, now let us sing Go Now in Peace and sing the children out.
Everywhere,
We have a very brief reading by Mary Oliver. To live in this world, you must be able to do 3 things. To love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your life depends on it. And when the time comes to let it go, to let it go.
That was beautiful. It strikes me as ironic that I'm giving a sermon on our errors making us human after missing last week due to an illness and not being able to get up and tell anyone. If I had a better singing voice or more confidence, I might break into Alanis Morissette's Isn't It Ironic? But instead, here's my sermon. It's in our errors that we are human. I've read recently that some of what shows capuchas that we are human and not AI is not just that we get the puzzle correct. Capuchas are the silly little puzzles that you have to do to get into email or forums or websites, where you prove that you're not a computer program and not AI. So what this said is that for capuchas, sometimes it's our hesitations and our errors that our humanity shows through our mouse movements and clicks. There's other methods too of proving we aren't AI, but let's focus on the errors and hesitations making us human. Being human means making mistakes. It means hesitating and missing the mark. It means failing. It is miscalculations that bring us to find ourselves, to find new things, to find beauty, and sometimes even to find purpose. I've been taught many times through my ministerial formation about failure. When I was in seminary, I took an improv as ministry class, and we were encouraged to try new things. Sometimes it worked, and sometimes it didn't. We would say, I failed, enthusiastically and loudly, to practice the fact that we would fail in school, in life, in ministry, and that it was okay. It was a part of life. That meant that we were merely being human, not bad or judged or shamed, but admitting we failed and moving forward. And of course, in real life, we'd also right our wrongs and apologize. In clinical pastoral education, a learning time that most seminary students experience in a hospital setting, being student chaplains, at the overall hospital orientation for my clinical pastoral education, they explained that as a teaching hospital, the most important thing was admitting mistakes so that you could learn from them and others could learn from them. They said we would not be fired for mistakes that we went to someone about in the spirit of learning, as long as it wasn't a repeated, habitual, ignoring rules sort of thing. Now, I don't know what happens when a doctor or nurse's mistake kills someone, but we were reassured many times in chaplain training that we would have to really mess up to endanger the life or limb of people. This allowed me the space to learn and try new things pastorally, from praying out loud for the first time, and the second, and the third, and the 76th, to walking through the hospital with a patient and his mom and a unique visit outside of a hospital room. I made mistakes, like forgetting a patient's name mid-prayer, but learned to improvise by saying, "This child of God," since the family was Christian. Mistakes were made, but it all worked out in the end and taught me that I could respond and improvise under pressure. All these spaces gave me the chance to learn and make mistakes, and they were the places that taught me a concept that is so human, but so often forgotten in our Western culture of perfectionism, productivity-based capitalism. A Psychology Today article talks about how when organizations, like the hospital in my example, tolerate mistakes from employees and offer them a chance to grow, it actually helps the organization as a whole. Instead of mistakes being swept under the rug if someone fears being fired, in a mistake-tolerant culture, an employee is more likely to go to his or her supervisor and admit their mistake. This creates a culture of learning and an environment with less repeated mistakes, because the system can fix what may be creating mistakes if there is such a cause. Many cultures teach the beauty of mistakes in the small and the big ways. Wabi-sabi is a Japanese aesthetic concept that focuses on the beauty of imperfect things. One example of wabi-sabi is in kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. Kintsugi takes something that has lost value through a mistake of a human breaking a teapot or a cup or a vase, and fills those spots with gold to repair the item So now the object is an ornament and beautiful in a new way. When prepared in the traditional kintsugi method, the materials used are even food safe. So a teapot, for example, could still be used as a teapot. Imagine if we could see ourselves this way, filled with the golden knowledge that our mistakes give us. Not every society is like ours when it comes to mistakes, even big mistakes like crimes. The Alaska Tribal Justice Resource Center describes one option they offer called circle peacemaking. They've written on their website that circle peacemaking is a style of dispute resolution that brings together wrongdoers, families, victims, leaders, community members, and service providers to discuss the situation and to decide as a group what the appropriate sentence should be. It is very therapeutic and a restorative justice approach to justice. It is especially well suited to addressing substance abuse associated crimes. Notice there's no mention in that of a judge, a jury, a bailiff, or a police officer. This was a modern example that I found of this approach, but many tribes used similar justice concepts pre-colonization. It is such a different concept than one that is just punitive, because for one, the survivors of the crime have a larger voice. And for another, most times there can be a healing or a spiritual aspect required of the perpetrator as well. It is not focused only on the mistake, but on putting society back into right relation. Christianity also acknowledges people's propensity to make mistakes with confession, either to a priest, like in the Catholic tradition, or directly to God in other denominations. When I was a chaplain, it often helped Christian patients to be reminded they aren't divine, and so they do make mistakes, and that's okay. In the Bible, in Proverbs 28:13, it says, "A person who refuses to admit his mistakes can never be successful. But if that person confesses and forsakes those mistakes, another chance is given." This is a holy text for Christianity, and still yet, there can be a lot of guilt that people hold for not living up to the expectations of what they think their higher powers' expectations are. In reality, Christians have a chance like anyone else to repair after a mistake is made. In our Unitarian Universalist tradition, we have a reading and singing the living tradition that speaks to forgiveness with the through line, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. I wonder what our small piece of society would be like if we could put that line into play in our small day-to-day missteps. What if we forgave ourselves for our part in mistakes, forgave others, and began again? I'm not suggesting doing this for huge mistakes, just the small and medium ones. When someone forgets to bring cookies for after church, even though it was their turn. When no one remembers to extinguish the chalice. When someone says something that really irks you in a board meeting. To err is human, to forgive is divine, is a quote from Alexander Pope's poem, An Essay on Criticism, that has been quoted and paraphrased over and over and over from pop culture to medicine, from TV shows to comics to medical journals. The first place I heard a paraphrase of this quote was in the TV show Gilmore Girls, when a teacher at the academically rigorous private school the main character has just begun attending says, "To err is human." And here at Chilton, we try to beat that humanity right out of you. This quote is how much of the American education system sees mistakes. Wrong, imperfect, something to be eliminated. The need for perfection in ourselves and others starts young in our American culture. To Err is Human is also the name of a 1999 report by the U.S. Institute of Medicine that may have increased the awareness of medical errors in the United States. Prior to this report, people were less aware of the errors that doctors and other medical professionals make. This led to a documentary and follow-up papers addressing how the errors have changed or improved. Technology helps certainly, but our doctors are still humans too, then and now. That's really what the original quote is all about, errors being a human thing. Whether it's students or professionals we all make mistakes. According to the Los Alamos National Laboratory, the average human makes 5 mistakes an hour, every hour. Most of these are things we don't even realize we've done. Something like a typo or filing a paper in the wrong spot. We notice, correct, and then keep going. It's comforting, I think, to think that mistakes are such a part of our existence that we don't even notice these tiny ones that we're making all the time. Let's focus now for a moment on the part of the quote that reads, "To forgive is divine." UU ministers, the Rev. Dr. Marlon Lavenhar, being who I've heard this concept from, talk about creating heaven or hell on earth. We have a choice to make this world of ours hell for people by being unkind or cruel, or to make it heaven by being accepting and loving. So, if forgiveness is divine, then it is ours to use to create heaven on earth, regardless of whether or not there is such a thing as divinity. We are the ones who can choose this forgiveness as well as the ones who can choose to ask forgiveness of others. Forgiveness, though, is not as simple a statement as I make it sound. Often, it is something we aren't ready for, and that's okay too. But when we can, it's an aspiration we can have in order to move towards living in beloved community. Good things can come after we forgive others, or perhaps more importantly, when we can forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we've made. There's also mistakes so grievous that they feel hard, if not impossible, to forgive. Mistakes in the medical realm that cause a death. Mistakes when creating cars that harm, maim, or kill people. Mistakes that are so grand, they have these horrible consequences, but they were still not an intentional act of harm. This is a lot harder to grapple with than a small or medium mistake. When a mistake shakes trust or causes short-term discomfort or unease, it can be tough to move back from. But what about when we can't come back from a mistake? When a life is lost or altered forever, there's no just saying, "I'm sorry and I forgive you," that makes us heal. Making change to prevent a mistake in the future by lobbying or legislation or sitting on a board are ways individuals impacted can sometimes start to heal. These might be like systems of double-checking work in an operating room or in a car design team. But there aren't easy answers for forgiveness with big mistakes. But mistakes aren't always something that need forgiveness. Many of our world's greatest inventions have come from human errors. Penicillin, smoke detectors, the blood thinner warfarin, the microwave oven, x-rays, matches, Coca-Cola, the implantable pacemaker, Post-it notes, Play-Doh, chocolate chip cookies, popsicles, super glue, ice cream cones, anesthesia, and potato chips, just to name some, were all accidental discoveries. In most cases, the creator was trying to make something completely different, and due to an error, found something else that could be created instead. For example, the Post-it notes creator was trying to make a really heavy-duty glue, but instead made a super light tacky glue that didn't stick for a long time. It's definitely not what they were going for, but led to the creation of an item that I'm sure all of us have used. Mistakes can be what shows that we have taken a risk, that we have tried something new. It doesn't always work out when we try something we have not done before, but that doesn't mean that learning a new skill, making a new recipe, or going for a goal is a bad idea. It just means that we will persevere and try again, or even try something different next time if we fail. Letting go of something we fail at and forgiving ourselves for not being capable of everything is human too, and even a human need. It is humble to stop when we are not able to complete a task. We all fail sometimes, in our work, with our families and friends, in just being ourselves, and at being human. It is part of what our being human, it's part of our being human that means we fail. The goal, I suppose, is to fail with purpose and with humility. This week, I encourage you to have kindness for yourself and for others when you or they mess up or fail. We're more than one choice, one moment, and in our failures and the ways we recover in the moments after, that is where our humanity lies. We will now move to our time of offertory. Our generosity recipient for August is Youth at Heart. Please make checks out to Hope Unitarian Church and put generosity on the memo line. Checks with no notation would be applied to your pledge or to the operating fund. Told me you were gonna, sorry.
But in addition to monetary funds, she did say that they need art supplies, and she's going to send me a list of the art supplies that are needed. So be on the lookout for that in your email when I get it.
Let us rise and embody your spirit to sing.
We need to build on foundation.
Oh, my apologies. I made a mistake. What am I, 5 an hour?
Forgive yourself.
We build on foundations we did not lay. We warm ourselves at fires we did not light. We sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. We drink from wells we did not dig. We profit from persons we did not know. We are ever bound in community. Now let us rise and embody your spirit. For hymn 311, let it be a dance. wish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. May we go forward from this place better than we were before and move into the world with what we have gained.